friends are having a great time. It's not face to face, it's all online. We're all in our homes, miles away. Love them like my family, what can I say? My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you're never alone. Don't call or text me, it's about to begin. I've been patient, time for me to chime in. Comfy clothes on, feeling just fine. I'm busy right now, it's crafting show time. My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you're never alone. The host came on.
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Let's have a good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Hey, Gifted Crafters, welcome back for our Gifted Crafters morning show. Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. I hope you guys are all...
Live from the Sunshine State.
Oh boy. Sorry about that. I hope you guys are doing great today. A little bit of a technical issue there, but I think we got it ready now. Alrighty, grab yourself your little drink. I've got my cafe con leche today because, had a little bit of a rough night, I can tell you. It's been a minute or two. So if you guys are tuning in for the first time, my name is Nancy and I'm your host, and we'll be talking and spending the hour today on crafting. And we talk about all kinds of crafts, from sewing, quilting, crocheting, decoupage, so many more things. There's so many things I want to get to, and we've got a ton of projects and UFOs and things we're going to work on together, because you guys are going to keep me on my toes to make sure that I get them done. So hello, I see everybody tuning in from all over the place. Texas, Ohio, wow, all kinds of places. Hey, Sandra, Tara, Mary, Robin, Wanda, oh my gosh, Melissa, Scrapping Like a Lady. I love that name. That's pretty cool. Fran, I see Jackie. Oh my gosh. Belinda, Becky, Barbara, Lisa. My gosh. A lot of people here. Thank you for tuning in. Well, I hope wherever you are, that you are in your happy place, hopefully, or maybe just on your way to work. And maybe I can bring a little smile to your face, or at least a little giggle, right? Alrighty, so let me talk to you about last night. So yesterday we were talking about the farm animal quilt, and I had squared off the quilt and we were all ready to go, and so we were about to start doing some embroidery on there. And so I had a bit of an issue yesterday with my machine. It started acting up and the registration got thrown off. And I have a little test so that you guys can see exactly what happened here. And let's see. I'm hoping you guys can see this. So if you can see that, we've got two different circles going on because something got bumped and it kind of threw the registration off. So a little bit of an issue, but I was able to kind of save the project a little bit. And yeah, no, it was not fun. I was really upset, and I kind of noticed that my machine, which is sitting behind me here, it was just, I guess, a little too close. We kind of moved it a little bit, and it was a little too close to the wall. So it looked like it got bumped, and the quilt was kind of hanging off to the side of it. So it did get kind of bumped there through the registration off. So the machine came up with some kind of a safety warning thing that it gave me, and it stopped. And I literally had to take it off the machine. The bobbin was a big mess underneath, so I had ended up cleaning out the machine. And at this point, it was already, I don't know, maybe like 1 in the morning. And so it was one of those things that normally I would just walk away and say, okay, we'll deal with it in the morning. Let's take a breath, you know. But I really wanted to show you at least one of the things embroidered. So I did kind of stay up a little bit trying to get this thing done. So I didn't get too much embroidery, at least not as much as I wanted to get done, but I did get some of it done. But I wanted to kind of show you guys this because, you know, when this does happen, and your registration kind of comes off a little bit, it's really hard to kind of get it right back where you had it. Because I literally had to, because the bobbin was all like a big tangled mess underneath, I literally had to kind of cut underneath the hoop to be able to take the hoop off. And so I had to take the project off the hoop, and you know, everything kind of shifted on the hoop. So I was kind of wondering, like, how am I ever going to be able to get this back on the hoop and back aligned, because the embroidery process had already started. So the design had already made the circle, and it was already getting, you know, tacked down. So it's one of those really tough things that you have to decide. You scrap it and just start all over again. But since this was a quilt, I really didn't have that kind of option. So I had to figure out how could I get it back on the hoop, back aligned, and kind of continue where it left off. So it was a challenge. It was a challenge. I did manage to kind of do that. But it was it's off just a tiny hair, and I'm trying to figure out what can I do to make this a little better. I'm going to show it to you guys, and then you guys tell me what I should do. I mean, it's done. It's on the quilt now. I'm just trying to figure out what can I do, if anything, to kind of make it a little nicer. But yeah, those were the kinds of challenges that I was having last night, and it was crazy. Your future luminaire will make it easier. Man, Marge, I really hope so. Because it was tough. It was really, really tough. Good morning. Yeah. It was rough, and oh man, if I had a swear jar in this room, it would be full. Mm-hmm. Yes. It was a night. It was a night. And, you know, I really felt bad because I was so mad. I was like, I wanted to get this done so badly. I was really anxious. You know, this has been one of those projects that's been sitting on my side here for a while. And I just kept looking at it, and I kept wanting to do it. And now with you guys, it's like it kind of forces me to do it. So, I was really excited to get it done, and I wanted to, you know, kind of get further down the line, but that just didn't work. So So anyway, that's kind of happened, and that was a thing last night. So it's a little rough, but I have a couple other things that I can show you, and I'm going to show you the quilt, and I'm also going to show you one little tip that I kind of thought of afterwards, and I'm going to do this with you guys now. So hopefully this may work, and maybe this will help solve a problem that maybe you guys have. So let me grab my sip of coffee because I sure need it today. Hey, Sandra, thanks for joining. Boy, see, my throat kind of goes after a while. So I don't know about you guys, but you know, you can get pretty frustrated when things like that happen. And I'm sure you guys have had your stories as well. But yeah, this one was pretty tough. Okay. So, let's see. So I saw a bunch of people in the chat yesterday were saying that they're going to go out and get the sheet, the steel sheet, the galvanized steel. And I hope you guys were able to get it, and let me know in the chat if you did get it. Do you like it? I mean, I've had this for quite some time, but it's just something that I really like to use, and it really helps me. So I'm glad that a lot of people seem to like that tip, and I'm hoping that you guys kind of enjoy that, because it's really helpful to have that galvanized steel underneath your mat so that you can use your magnets. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, if you joined us yesterday, we were looking at the mat itself, and I kind of lifted the mat and I showed you guys the galvanized steel that I had and all of the little magnets and how they kind of hang stuff here. Oh, Jackie said, did you try turning it off, waiting a few minutes to fix the registration? I did, Jackie. We tried all kinds of stuff, and I Googled it, and it had to have been that the machine was just too close to the wall and it bumped it. And I'm going to show you the quilt itself. It's not a huge quilt, but it's a pretty sized, quilt for that machine. And I think because of the bulkiness, it kind of dragged a little bit, and maybe was kind of like, it was hard to kind of keep it in place because it's, it's a small machine. It's a 5x7 hoop. So, I think because it was big and bulky, I didn't account for that bulkiness. And so it hit the wall and threw the registration off. And then the bobbin got all tangled underneath. And then I couldn't even take the hoop off because there was a big tangled mess on the bottom. So I had to go in with some scissors and kind of cut the bobbin underneath that. So yeah, it was a minute. And then, I ended up taking it off, and then I put a separate piece of cutaway, because after I cut it off, down here was a kind of a hot mess, but then it kind of ate away so much of the stabilizer that I just wasn't happy with that. Sandra says, sorry that happened to you, Nancy. We've all been there and learned sometimes we just need to take a break. Yes, besides, that's why we buy extra fabric. That's right, Sandra. See, that's why I buy extra fabric. You see? Thank you, Sandra. So, yeah, but what I ended up doing is I took my spray base and I sprayed the bottom of the stabilizer a little bit, and I put another piece of cutaway stabilizer right on the bottom. Okay. And then that kind of made me feel better that now it actually has some stabilizer that it's going to continue to be able to use, because it was kind of really chopped up here. Like it was just such a hot mess. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And I was like, and this is just my first one on this quilt, right? It's like, what's going on? So I never had it act up that bad. Like, I couldn't believe it really like tore it up there. So, got it done. But let's move this over here. I'm going to show you. I'm going to bring it in, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So like I said, I was able to salvage it for the most part. Let me just move my coffee out of the way. And so the quilt itself, I did spray based the batting to the top quilt. So that part is done. And there we go. And then here's the little sky. And then here is the sun. So I don't even know if I threw it off a little bit in terms of it being in the center, but this is what it ended up being, which I think is okay. Let me see if can you guys see that? There we go. So as you can see, it's got like a rim all the way around of like a yellow thread. And it did do a stitch, but you can see that like one of the first steps was it went ahead and did the placement. Okay. I skipped there. It does do a box. I skipped that one because I didn't need that line because I already knew the fabric that I had covered the entire area. So I did double up on my fabric. So I put 2 layers of it because I did not want the fabric to show what was behind it, right? So it's got this really blue, cloudy sky. And so I went ahead and I doubled it up and then I put it on here. And I'm glad I did because if I hadn't, you could probably see the sky coming through because this fabric was really, really a light fabric and you can kind of see it had a lot of sheerness to it. So you can kind of see through it. So I doubled that up and put that there. And then it did this blanket stitch and it asked for blue thread, which I thought was kind of odd, but I thought, you know, well, with the background being blue, I guess that's fine. So I went ahead and did that one and that one came out fine. So you see the little blanket stitch kind of going around. But then when I did the third stitch, which is where this yellow stitch is coming along, that's when I was having the problem. And you can see, if you look really close, you can see the blanket stitch. And I don't think that is really meant to show as much. But you can see one side is kind of more covered than the other. So I really wasn't kind of happy with that. But I went ahead and, you know, I did the best I could to kind of realign it back and get it back where it was so it could continue the design and not be completely thrown off. So the way I did that is I put it back in the hoop and put it back in the machine. And then I did a little test stitch and I saw, okay, registration is way off. Turned the machine off, back on again, reloaded the design again. And then what I ended up doing is I kind of just played with the settings on the machine. So I had reduced it slightly from the original size that it came in because I thought the sun was just a little too big for the amount of space that I had of the sky. So I reduced it slightly over here. And when I went to put it back in, I just kind of set the machine. I skipped ahead to the thread or to the step where I was. And then I just used the +1 buttons just to get the needle around where the next stitch would be. And I kind of used the hand wheel to, you know, bring down the needle so I could figure out exactly where the needle was going to hit. And that's how I kept playing with that for a while. It took me a bit to really get exactly to that spot. Leslie said, good morning, Nancy and everyone. I was able to get the 24 by 36 inch sheet at Lowe's. Awesome. For $13.81 with my military discount. There you go. Awesome. So now go ahead. That's a perfect size and you can slip it underneath your cutting mat. So you're going to see a difference in your cutting on that. I just think the magnets really, really help. But, so what I did here, you know, just playing around with that, you know, +1 button, just bringing down the needle, seeing where it's going to land. I got it. I mean, I couldn't get it exact, but I got it pretty close, because then I kept having to like move the hoop to the right or to the left. So I got it as close as I could. And so it does have that little bit of an area, which I'm not too happy about, but you know, I'm just going to call it a day and just leave it. I mean, at that point, I think I went to bed at like 3 in the morning because I was not going to give up on this sun. I was determined to get it done. So it is done. Not perfect, but it's done. And then here's the back. Because I put that second piece of stabilizer, it looks clean. But underneath it, it was really a hot mess. Sandra says, it turned out great. I would recommend backing all light colored fabrics with a stabilizer like Pellon SF101. Yeah, and you know, I didn't want to use that one because I was like, well, you know, I've got this big batting here that serves as kind of a stabilizer. And then I said the tearaway will be fine because nobody's going to see it. I could have used the one that I had over here, the no-show mesh. I showed this one before. I was going to use that one. And then sometimes when I quilt, yeah, I'll usually put the SF101 behind it. But I didn't this time. I thought this time, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and do it this way because it's pretty thick. But yeah, and then this happened. So I don't know. I might do that for the rest of the animals once I get to this bottom portion here and start placing. So I think the next character that I'm going to work on for this quilt is probably the barn and the windmill. And I'll probably place them somewhere around here. And then from here, I'm going to just start going down, putting the little animals in place. And I got the little, you know, all the templates kind of printed out. And so, you know, you can kind of play with the placement a little bit. And so if I decide to do that here and this here, and I may kind of just shrink it a little bit, you know, make it a little bit smaller, not much, you know. Jackie said tearaway should be fine. Yeah, I think so. But we'll see. I think I'll be okay with the tearaway. And then, you know, I'm just going to go around and keep placing the little animals all over the place. There's a little template for the sun that we use. So it did come out to be very handy because I also tried to use the template to kind of line things back up again. So yeah. My embroidery sister will be heading my way soon. Awesome. So Boricua Sewing Across, that's my sister. She lives in Virginia and she's going to be coming to Florida soon. Woohoo. So I can't wait for her visiting. Barb, whoop, I didn't get to see that one. Okay, Barbara says, given sun an extra glow around like a very bright day. Aw. Yeah, I think so too, Barbara. That's what we're going to call it, right? We're going to say it was intentional that way. We wanted to brighten it up. Okay. It looks like a cute quilt. Yeah, Patty, I think it's going to come out cute. I mean, once I get all the other animals in here, we've got the little pig that I'm probably going to do towards the bottom because I've got that darker strips down here, so it kind of represents like the mud, you know, so I think that'll be kind of cute. And you know, we've got all kinds of other things like the sheep, and you know, they got a little kitty cat and apple tree. I mean, it goes on and on. You don't have to use every single one, but they are so damn cute. It's even got a little pond if you wanted to put the pond in there. So I don't know, I printed them all out and I'll just see where everything lands, and then I'll kind of figure out which ones I'm going to use and which ones I won't. Now, I could also just kind of take some of these animals and I can put this on, you know, a kitchen towel or a towel for your kids, you know, or, you know, any little animal that they love, you know, you can kind of use these. It doesn't have to be for the quilt. You can use it for all kinds of things, right? So So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for here, and we'll continue to work on this. Now, I'm going to show you one thing that I thought about, and I think this is going to help me out. And I don't know if you guys use something like this, but so we've got our quilt, right? And like I said, I have a small machine and a really small space, and so it kind of bumped on the wall. But one of the things that I thought about doing is I went to my living room, and well, actually the laundry room is where we had this, and I got a pool noodle. And you're thinking, what the heck am I going to do with a pool noodle, right? Well, this is what I'm going to do with the pool noodle, and I think this will kind of help. So I'm going to move this over here. And so here's another tip for you, very low cost. You can get these at the dollar store, right? At least here in Florida, they're year-round, like, you know, because it's always hot and people have tons of pools. I don't have a pool, but, you know, these become really, really useful, especially in the craft rooms. There's a ton of uses for this. Like, you can do crafts with this. You can kind of make this a circle and do a reef, right? I mean, there's so many things, so many crafts, so many things you can do with this. But anyway, for embroidery, I'm using the pool noodle. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be placing the pool noodle towards the bottom of the quilt. And I'm going to wrap it around here. Let me kind of move my hoop out of the way. And I'm going to take my pins and I'm going to pin the center and the ends here. And then I'm going to pin the other end. And you're thinking, what in the heck is she doing, right? So I'm just pinning it along. I want it to kind of stay on the pool noodle. And I'm just kind of roll this all the way around here. There. And then I can put some more pins if I want. And what I can do, because this pool noodle is kind of long for this quilt, I can take a little, they have those knives that are specific for these pool noodles, or you can just grab X-Acto knife, any kind of knife, or a pair of scissors, whatever. And you can do this. Oh, great idea, Nancy. Yeah, and so you can cut the ends off, or you can just leave them if you wanted to, right? And then that kind of rolls it, and that whole bulkiness and that you kind of have hanging off the side of your machine where it kind of drapes everywhere, it creates this drag. And so that, I think, was part of the problem that throws the registration off, because you have the weight of the quilt pulling on your hoop while the machine is trying to embroider on it. So I think by me doing this, it's going to be a nice way to kind of not only keep it kind of contained and put to one spot, but it's going to help with it not pulling on the actual machine. So it eliminates a little bit of that drag. And so I can kind of do it this way. I can cut these pieces off to the side, or I can just move it like to the end of the quilt and just have this piece like in the front somewhere, right? And then what you can do is now I can put this on my hoop. You grab my templates. Let's just pretend that we have this hooped, right? And it could go ahead and be like this, and I can kind of put it in my machine, and everything is kind of in its place and out of the way. And if you have to kind of put it inside the machine by the throat, you know, you really don't have a lot of space on this machine. I mean, technically you really want to kind of do it the other way, where you have the pieces here that kind of clip into the machine. You want to have it the other way. You want to have it going this way, so it's outside of the machine, not by the throat area, right? So this is really nice, because now it'll kind of just stay here. It's all together. I can put a couple more pins so it stays in place if I wanted to. I can even pin here down on the bottom so it doesn't move around as much. And so now the machine will take it and it'll go ahead and embroider it. And this kind of stays in place, eliminating a little bit of that drag. So yeah. Robin says she uses pool noodles with her quilts. Yes. You use pool noodles. Yes. For rolling up longer fake. Yes. Yes, Barbara. Definitely. Yeah. Get a cheap Dollar Tree bread knife, Leslie. Exactly. Yeah. So these pool noodles, they come in handy. And so, I'm just going to keep it in my craft room. And then just use that when I have these really long quilts. And then you know what, when you're not instead of kind of having to fold it up and all that, I can just roll it right here and keep this ready to go for when I'm ready to do my next embroidered item on this quilt. So it's a nice way to store it as well. So it's great for storage. It's great for eliminating the drag on the hoop itself. It's got some pretty good uses, and I'm sure there's probably a ton of other things that I can find uses for it. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? Pool noodles. Who would have thought, right? So that's just a little tip that I wanted to give you. So now I got a couple other little things, but let's head over to one of our segments because I do need to let you know what's going on out there. So let's go ahead and do our little crafting news. Okay, so let's see what we were able to find for you today. So today we have a quilter by the name of Marie Bachman, and she's created something really special. She's got a giant quilt using fabric from 195 different countries from all over the world. And she has things from soft bark cloth that was made in Fiji, all the way to embroidered fabric from Egypt. And every piece that she uses in her quilt tells a little global story. Isn't that pretty neat? So she started this project way back in 2016, and she wanted it to use this as a way to spread peace and unity through creativity. So it's like a crazy style quilt, which is pretty cool. And she says that quilting gives her a sense of calm and helps her express herself when words aren't enough. Now, her quilt hangs in a local church in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And it's open for all visitors to come and see. And it just, it's a kind of a little masterpiece, and it proves that quilting is more than just a craft. It's a powerful way to connect hearts from around the world. So isn't that a really nice story? I thought that's beautiful. I think that would be really nice to see if you're in that area, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. You can kind of look her up. Again, her name's Marie Bachman. Okay, then we have another little event to talk about. So we're going to head over to Nashville, and we've got the Decorated Apparel Expo that's heading over there. It's on Friday, May the 9th, and Saturday, May 10th. It's also known as DAX, and it will take over the Farm Bureau Expedition Center. It's a go-to trade show. And this is for anyone that's in the business of decorating clothing, from screen printing to embroidery, heat presses, and all the digital designs. Now, this is an event about learning about all the latest tricks, seeing all the new machines in action, and meeting just people from the custom apparel industry. It is free to attend for industry pros, but it's not open to the general public. This is more for business owners. And you can get more details on that at daxshow.com. That's daxshow.com. All one word. Okay, and let's see. I've got one more thing, just a reminder. If you're in Boise, Idaho, we've got the Quilt Crafting and Sewing Festivals in town, and it started on May the 8th. And it's already open and on the ground. So from May 8th to May the 10th. So it's already open and out there. So it starts today. and it's at the Center Expo Hall in Expo, Idaho. And it's completely free to attend, and parking is free as well. So that's taking place today. So check it out if you're nearby that area, because it's totally free. So why not? All right, and that is the crafting news that I have for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and let me know in the chat, if that's pretty helpful. We try to find things going on from all over the place, just to kind of give you some info in case you're in that area and you can catch some of that, or maybe you want to do a little road trip. Okay, I want to also, Flo says, do you put the noodle in the throat or hanging off the embroidery arm? Well, that's really going to depend on your machine and how much throat space you have. I really don't have a lot of throat space on here. So if I were to kind of put this in here, not to say that I can't, I can, because you can see it does fit, but it's not going to be ideal. Ideally, you would like it to be hanging off the machine on this end. Okay, so yes, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it, right? Because it's going to make it really difficult. But if you don't have a choice, then yeah, you could put it in here. But you can see here, this is just a small size quilt. So imagine if I had a queen size or even a twin size quilt. This would be a lot thicker, right? And I don't think you would really have too much space there, for it to kind of do its thing. And, it will keep it out of the way, but I would prefer to have it on the outside. Ideally, you always kind of want to have it on the outside, not on the inside. But, yeah, it's still going to be pretty helpful, I think. So, that was the kind of the little, challenges that I found on my quilt. I also noticed, a lot of the challenges that people have, at least for me, the challenge that I have on embroidery projects is when the colors don't match up with what you have on hand. So, a lot of people have Madeira threads and all these popular threads. I have a very small kit that I started with, and I kind of stayed with the same type of thread, and it's called Sim thread. This is the 63 color conversion chart that they provide you when you get the thread, right? And I also have the 120 spool one. Robin says, you have to stuff those size quilts through the throat space. Ask me how I know. Yeah, you'd really have to stuff them in there, and it's tough. It's tough to do that. I mean, you can rotate the design, right, to kind of go the other way, but I try to always try to kind of do it off the machine, not in the throat, because yeah, it's tough. It's tough, especially if you're doing something like a baby onesies, all those onesies that they sell. Those are really hard to do if you have, it's such a small space that you're trying to put the design in. You really have to watch it to make sure, because you've got to stretch it out to get it out of the way so it can actually embroider it. But there's different things that you can use for that as well. You can pin things down. You can use the little huggers here. You can use this to kind of hold it and keep things kind of out of the way. And so, I'd wrap, whatever the material is that I've got, and I'll kind of use the Huggy and try to wrap it around here to keep it out of the way. So you can do that too. There's tons of things that you can do, but, you've got to just use the tools and see what you have and just be creative. Try to see how you're going to be able to use something to help you out. So that's kind of what I had to do. And so, the pool noodle will work for me future-wise. And hopefully I'm going to be all good for the next embroidery that I do on this quilt. So, so when I was talking about the threads, I know that, they have all these conversion charts that are out there. And you can just Google, thread conversion, and, they're totally free, and you can kind of find the thread that you have and then see what the correct color is that you'd like to use. Or some people are really good at just kind of looking at the threads and, picking the colors that they want to be able to use for their quilt. So I kind of struggled with that a little bit because some of the colors that it was saying to use I didn't have, and so I had to kind of pick and choose what would look right on here. So we're gonna see, I've got some interesting selections, and I'm going to see what it's going to look like when I actually go to embroider it. So I kind of do that a little bit ahead, just kind of looking. What I do is I throw the design into the Embrilliance, and it'll tell you the colors, and then I go from there to the color chart, and I see, maybe if I like it or don't like it, and I may change it up, but, that's available. So those are a lot of fun. And then I did, and I forgot to kind of tell you guys about this. If you recall, when we were doing the square in the square blocks, what I did with the leftover, there was a lot of scraps on this that were kind of left over. So what I ended up doing with the scraps is I just made a bunch of half square triangles. And so I've got a little pile here of half square triangles that I was able to put together from this project. So I may kind of incorporate that as part of this little design. I'm not quite sure exactly what I'm going to do with this yet, but yeah, I think, it's pretty cute, and it's just a reminder, just because you have scraps, don't have to throw them out necessarily, because you can use them for other things. And this is what the scraps kind of look like. They were just little triangles. So, I just went ahead and I put them together, and I did half square triangles, and I'll put them in my little container until I can decide what to do with them. I'm not sure exactly how many I have, and I'm sure that I'll find some projects for that. Let's see. I like crafting news. It makes you think about searching out events locally as well as when traveling. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I love to do when we're traveling somewhere. And I know my husband kind of hates it. Whenever we're going somewhere, especially for like competitions and things with my son, I look to see what's in that area. And is there a quilt store in that area? And what days are they open? And maybe like, the day before, the day after the competition, we can kind of just stop by the quilt store. So I always try to do that and see what's in my local area whenever I'm kind of venturing out. So that's pretty cool. Oh, you found an Excel spreadsheet conversion. Nice. It's not 100%, but pretty close, and it's also free. Oh, awesome. Can you share that, Krissa? I'd love if you can share the link to that. I would love to see that, because, yeah, I'm always looking for a good one. I usually just Google them, and I just kind of pick whichever one is there. But if you got one in Excel, that's awesome. That's really great. Thank you for that. Okay, so we've got a couple other things that I wanted to kind of share. And I did a little thing here. Sorry for the little plastic noise. I wanted to share another little gadget that I got. And it's kind of a crazy little idea that I had. So I'm going to share this with you. Sorry for this noise. Hold on, I'm almost got it out. So I did this thing. I can get it out. Here we go. I did this little thing, and I bought this. And you're thinking, what the heck is this? Well, they advertise this as a way to kind of organize yourself and hang your leggings. So it's for you to be able to hang your leggings here in your closet versus folding them and stuffing them in a dresser drawer. But when I saw this, I said, oh, this would be a great way for me to hang my fabrics when I starch them. So when I'm working on a bigger quilt, especially like I'm going to be doing one of the legit kits that I have. I got the Hooter kit. And so I need to start starching my fabric. And there's a lot of fabric in there. And I'd like to kind of just do it all at once. Yeah, my poor husband, what torture device is this? No, I'm always just torturing him. I know, I'm so horrible. Right. So yes, Annette, I think Annette knows where I'm going with this. Good idea. So yeah, so I saw this and I said, you know, after you you go ahead and starch your fabrics, you want to just kind of hang them so that they fully dry, and then I take them over to the iron and I press them, and then I can start, you know, my cutting for my project. So you thought it was a pattern holder? Well, you could use it for that too, kind of a reminder. These are the projects that are waiting for you, right? But I went ahead and grabbed this and I thought, okay, so if I starch it and I do them all at once, I can kind of hang them here and then just kind of hang them in the bathroom so that, you know, if they're kind of dripping or whatever, it'll be on the bathroom here. Chris says drag is an issue with embroidery. Yes, even multi-needles. Key is eliminating any obstacles, walls, weight, objects sitting near the machine. Full noodle, great idea, providing it has clearance too. Oh, thank you, Chris. Yeah, it's a thing. It sure is a thing, and it got me yesterday. So for my fabrics, I thought, you know, this would be great, and it has the little clips, and I can kind of clip the fabrics once I starch them, and then just kind of clip them here and then hang it so that it can dry and it's not going to be all wrinkly, or, you know, usually you would kind of lay it out on something and then it's kind of has this little bump thing. So I'm hoping that by me doing this and just hanging it on just a little corner and just kind of have it, you know, hanging on itself, it's not going to be so wrinkly. So, this is what I was able to find. I found this on Temu. Like, I don't even know. I think it was like a couple bucks. It was before the tariff thing. So I was able to get it and it came in and I got 2 of them. So I'm going to use this now to kind of starch my fabric and hang it overnight. And then by the morning, it should be nice and dry and I should be able to kind of start collecting it and, you know, start on my project. So just another way of, you know, you seeing something that just because it's meant for one thing, you can totally use it for something else. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I'm going to give this a try and I'll let you know how it works. Alrighty. So let's get over to our next segment because I know we're kind of getting a little low on time here. So let's go over to our inspirational quote of the day. So today's quote of the day is, "Be like a needle, sharp, focused, and full of purpose." Awesome. Definitely want to be that. So, you know, stay sharp, stay focused on your projects, and be determined so that you can get them done. What is the sewing machine that I use? I have the Brother SE 1900. That's what I use for my embroidery. It does have the sewing capability as well, but I kind of have it set for embroidery here. And then I have my Brother HC 1850 is a really old machine, but I use that for pretty much my sewing. That way I don't have to take apart the embroidery compartment. But you can, but this is an excellent sewing machine as well. It's just because of the space here, I kind of just have it set for embroidery and kind of just leave it that way. How do you press all your fabric after starching to get the wrinkles out? So what I use is a wool mat. Once I have starched it and it's dried, I bring it over to my table, and you want to get the largest area possible just so it makes it a little bit easier. And I have the wool mat that I kind of just lay on here, and I use my dry iron, and I just iron it out till it's nice and crisp. There are other products and different starches that you can use. No Fault is one of them. You can pick that up anywhere, like your local Walmart. That's a kind of a heavy duty starch. So that one's pretty good. Even though it's, you just get it in your local Walmart, that one's pretty heavily used by a lot of people. There's all kinds. There's Mary Ellen's Best Press is another one. That one's a little bit of a lighter starch. You do have to kind of be careful because some of the starches can leave a little bit of flaking on your fabrics. So I have seen that happen as well. But we'll have to do a whole thing on starching because that's a whole conversation just in itself. Okay. Oh, Bernardo, you're late, but you'll catch the replay. No problem, Bernardo. Okay, so that was our inspirational quote of the day. Now we have our top comedy 5. And we decided to do it a little bit different today. So grab your little drink because I'm going to need your help on this one. This was something that my husband kind of conjured up and he thought it would be good, I guess, So grab your little drink, whatever it is. Hopefully, you got your coffee, your tea, your Diet Coke, whatever it is, because we're going to play this little game together. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I'm going to bring our top 5 on the screen, and then we're going to play this little game where if it's true, go ahead and take a sip of whatever it is you have. And we're going to see what they are. I have no idea what they are because, he does this all on his own. So I just kind of roll with it. I will roll with it. So let's see what he came up with. So Never Have I Ever is the name of the game. And let's see what number 5 is. So Never Have I Ever watched crafting videos for 3 hours and don't have a clue on how to start the project. Okay, yeah. I think I'll have to drink to that one. How about you guys? Yeah, Jackie, a drinking game. Yay! But it's a coffee drinking game or a soda or whatever it is you're drinking. Whatever makes you happy. Let's put it that way. So go ahead and take a sip if that's you. And if it is, go ahead and enter this symbol in the chat. If you haven't done that, we got a little symbol for you guys out there. You may want to use that little symbol to let us know if you're drinking. Oh, 100 proof quilting, you're drinking? Yeah, I'm drinking to that too. Definitely drinking to that. I mean, those crafting things, you can watch so many different crafting things and yeah, I still won't have a clue. Gulp, gulp. Yeah, I see the drinking icons coming in. All right, let's go to the next one. So number 4, never have I ever sewed 2 pieces together and realized one was inside out. Yeah, that was me. I'll have to say that was me. Matter of fact, from that pile, I have one of my oopsies. Yeah. So you see this? I have one of my half square triangles that's, upside down, inside out. I was tired, right? We all have one of those. So yeah, I'll take a sip for that. I see a couple of them coming in too. Yeah, Flo, Robin, yep. Lori, Sue. Yep. I guess a lot of people have done that, right? I guess hey, if you haven't done that, you're just not a crafter, right? All right, let's go on to number 3. Never have I ever made a craft project just to avoid doing house chores. Okay, let's have a drink. I mean, that's why we have a door. We kind of close the door, right? We're in our crafting space. They've got to figure it out. They've got their chore list. They know what they've got to do. Yeah, Robin's got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 drinks to that one. Sandra, yep. Glenda, where in Florida am I? I'm in Miami, Florida. So I'm way down south. Alrighty, let's go to the next one. So never have I ever bought more fabric than I actually need. Well, if you don't do that, I mean, come on, of course we have. God, amateurs, right? I don't know. Flo, Joanna, yep, a lot of people drinking. Boy, nobody's going to be thirsty after this. I think everyone would have had that thing. Oh, Sue says, good thing she's not drinking alcohol. Yes, this is a PG rated show, so we're drinking the coffee. Actually, I have café con leche. So we've got, you know, the coffee and the milk going on here. Lots of coffee. Oh boy, lots of stuff going on. Alrighty, where are we at? I kind of lost track. I think we're down to the number one. Alright, so number one reason. Never have I ever said this will just take 10 minutes and came out of my craft room 4 hours later. Oh.
Drink. Just drink.
I think I need to drink the whole cup for that one.
Drink it all.
Okay. Yeah, I see a lot of people going with that one. I you know, I thought it was going to take a minute, but you know, things happen, right? Yes. Oh, wow, Robin, you've got a lot of them. Yes, yes. Drink, 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 drink away. That's what it is. Yep. Alrighty. So Jackie's got a lot too. Yeah, Karen, Linda, Jenny. Okay, I guess we've all been there. I mean, if we don't do these things, then we're just not crafters, right? I mean, this is just comes with the territory. You just gotta deal with it. Just roll with it. That's all you can do, right? Awesome. Yeah, Chris got a lot of them. I see that, Chris. Yep. You need to make a new pot. Yeah. Yeah, Chris, I think I do. I'm going to need more coffee. You know, but I think that's it. That was our last one for today. So I think I got saved, but I'll be drinking the rest of my little coffee as my day goes on. So I do have to kind of get to work. Got my day job that I got to get to, but I always have a lot of fun with you guys. So remember, guys, I think Becky is back today from Power Tools with Thread. So it's just about time. So let's kind of head over to her channel because I'm sure she's got some goodies to show us and lots of things to learn on her end. So thank you guys all for tuning in this morning. I really appreciate you being here and spending your hour with me. I hope I was able to put a little chuckle in your day today and help you kind of start it off and get yourself inspired and going over to your craft room. So let's head over to Becky's channel now. And thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. So long, my friends, till we craft once again.